Hey everybody, look at this place behind me. It's a Tuesday morning and it is so quiet and peaceful. I came down here yesterday, Monday. I've been working a lot, so I decided I needed a break, and I just hitched up the old camper and I drove west. I'm about 125 miles from home and about 40 miles or so from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, west of Tuscaloosa. This is the Black Warrior River behind me. Is this just not beautiful? It is peaceful, it is pristine. I'm making a separate video about this, just of the trip. That'll be like a bonus video. So I'll post that, when I'll be leaving tomorrow and going back home. This is my second attempt at a video this morning. I already made a video and I went up to upload it. It was taking so long to upload, over an hour, and I got, what is the problem here? And when I got it uploaded, I was talking like this. For some reason, like I don't speak slow enough already. For some reason, the thing uploaded in half speed, 0.5 or whatever that means. I had me a little fire there last night. Maybe you can see it right there. Just beautiful. Ducks were flying overhead a few minutes ago. But let's get over here and talk, because there's a couple of things I want to talk about that concern us all, particularly those of you who are American taxpayers. Prior to last week, I guess I would say, I didn't know anything about USAID. I can't even honestly say I'd ever even heard of it. I don't know if you have or not. Let me adjust my camera. I don't know if you've heard of USAID or not. When I started hearing about USAID, I didn't hear anything good about it. You think because of the acronym USAID, that's got to be some kind of aid agency that goes and helps people in other nations that are, experiencing drought or famine or flood or something of that nature. That ain't what USAID is at all. And thank God for Donald Trump, because he is lifting the lid off one of the biggest scandals in recent memory. And that's saying a lot, because there's a lot of them. But the last couple of days, I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of digging, finding out all that I could about USAID. And I've got so many resources and documents here. I hope you'll just bear with me, because there's some things that I'm just going to have to read to you. So just bear with me here. Let's start with Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who I guess is responsible for unearthing this conspiracy, this fraud. This is what he said on Twitter. He said, USAID is a ball of worms. He said, and when there is no apple. And when there is no apple, you just need to get rid of the whole thing. That's why it's got to go. It is beyond repair. Now, Daniel McAdams quoted Dr. Ron Paul, his boss, who said this: USAID is a key component of the U.S. government's regime change operations worldwide. USAID spends billions of dollars every year propping up NGOs, as non-governmental organizations overseas that function as shadow governments, eating away at elected governments that U.S. interventionists want to overthrow. Behind most U.S. foreign policy disasters overseas, you will see the fingerprints of USAID. From Ukraine to Georgia and far beyond, USAID is meddling in the internal affairs of foreign countries, something that would infuriate the American people if it was happening to us. Now, USAID was created by executive order, that being from the pen of John F. Kennedy. The speculation is that Trump is going to use an executive order folding USAID into the State Department. I think he's already done this, actually, and keep all disbursements for USAID frozen until Musk can and his helpers can complete forensic audits on where all the billions of dollars have gone. So it's a shrewd way to unearth the spending, that will infuriate the American people, I believe, and free Congress to get rid of USAID spending. Now, I know that as of yesterday, Trump put USAID basically moved it into the State Department, where it's currently under the administration of Marco Rubio. And he has basically frozen everything, just saying, hold on, let's just wait until we can get a handle on this. This thing is absolutely scandalous. Let's listen to what Rick Rosoff had to write about USAID. He said this: in 1993, a USAID document shows the agency signed an agreement with George Soros and his foundation's management training programs to train 30 professionals from Bulgaria, Estonia, Slovakia, Poland, and Romania. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, a series of color revolutions shook Eastern Europe, with George Soros' network of NGOs playing a central role in the unrest. In 2003 to 2004, Soros International Renaissance Foundation partnered with USAID to support Ukraine's Orange Revolution. Prior to that, the U.S. spent $54.7 million in 2003 and $34 million in 2004 on democracy programs in Ukraine through various agencies, including USAID. Does this sound familiar? Is there anybody out there who doesn't understand at this point, any American who does not understand what happened in Ukraine? The U.S. legal watchdog Judicial Watch revealed in April of 2013 that USAID sponsored Soros' globalist agenda in Guatemala. In total, OSF reportedly spent around $100 million fomenting unrest in Latin America between 2015 and 2018. In October of 2018, the watchdog obtained documents indicating that USAID partnered with Soros to fund radical left-wing activists in Albania. In 2016, USAID reportedly allocated $9 million to a campaign overseen by Soros' East-West Management Institute. To illustrate the scale of funds managed by Soros-linked institutions or initiatives, in 2024, then-President Biden requested nearly $30 billion for USAID. Now, Ron Paul, the great Ron Paul, wrote an article today, and I want to read a couple of excerpts from it. And he said this: the closing of USAID may be one of the most significant changes President Trump has made among many dramatic actions his first couple of weeks in office. Many Americans may still have the idea that USAID is a government agency delivering relief at disaster sites overseas. That's what I thought. They may still remember bags of rice or grain with USAID logos on them. That's what I remember. But this is not USAID, he writes. USAID is a key component of the American government's regime change operations worldwide. They spend billions of dollars every year propping up NGOs overseas that function as shadow governments. I read that earlier, so let me continue. When President Trump ordered a 90-day pause in USAID activities, we quickly learned just how pernicious the agency really is. The U.S. media reported that Ukrainian press outlets were scrambling to keep their doors open when the U.S. dollars stopped flowing. It is reported that listen to this, folks, it is reported that 90% of the media outlets in Ukraine are funded by the U.S. government. Can you believe that? No wonder we're not getting the truth about Ukraine. This means that there is virtually no independent media in Ukraine, only fake news outlets willing to toe the U.S. administration's propaganda line. Does anyone think these wholly U.S. funded news outlets, quote unquote, would ever publish a story that the U.S. government did not want published? This is plainly immoral, but it's also dangerous. Most U.S. mainstream media stories about Ukraine have their origins in the reporting of the local media. From battlefield news to casualties, the state of the Ukrainian military, the news from Ukraine, quote unquote, news, is being written by U.S. government-backed media institutions and then picked up by U.S. and other Western media. It is a closed propaganda loop that not only propagandizes the U.S. citizen, but also feeds false information into U.S. government outlets such as Congress that rely on mainstream U.S. media for their news on Ukraine. No wonder so many in Washington continue to support this hopeless war. Do you get that? We are funding the news outlets in Ukraine, and that means that it's like TASS in the old Soviet Union. That means they are reporting the news that we want them to report. So all the news that is coming out of Ukraine, or 90% of it, is backed by the United States government. So they're putting our spin on the story. We're not getting the truth. We're getting what the heretofore Biden administration and Obama administration wanted us to hear about Ukraine. Therefore, what you hear in the American media is what the government wants you to hear, and what those in Congress are hearing is what they get from the American government. It's completely one-sided, completely slanted. No wonder most Americans thinks Putin is this evil madman, because that's what the government wants you to think. Do you get it now? It's unbelievable what is happening here. All this funding through USAID, which ain't at all what you may have thought it was. It's certainly isn't what I thought it was. Now, let's get to... I think I had a list. I'm not going to take time to look it up. I had a list that was released on Twitter from Caroline Leavitt. Caroline Leavitt has probably got the easiest job in the world because she is Donald Trump's press secretary. And Donald Trump, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he needs a press secretary, because this man is so accessible. He's so transparent. He's always meeting with the media. He has them in the Oval Office. He has them everywhere. He'll talk to them anytime, anywhere. It's unbelievable. You'd never see Biden do this, ever. But Donald Trump will. So she's got the easiest job around because she's his spokesman, his press secretary. It's unbelievable. She doesn't have much work to do because he does it for her pretty much. But anyway, she had a list that she reported, or released rather, on Twitter yesterday, detailing all of these funds from USAID that were directed all over the world to support and prop up things you just wouldn't believe, such as they sent thousands of dollars to a trans opera in Colombia, things like that. Millions of dollars in countries in Latin America and in Europe where they're propping up the LGBTQ and DEI agendas. That's U.S. taxpayer dollars, folks, propping this kind of crap up. And Trump is saying no more. He has lifted the lid off this scandal. Thank God for this man. I'm telling you, I am more and more impressed with Donald Trump. He is, I don't agree with him about everything, but this man is America first. And I am loving it. To uncover, to unearth the scandal, the utter scandal that is USAID, this rogue agency using taxpayer dollars to prop up their DEI and LGBTQ, whatever the initials are, all over the world at the expense of the American taxpayer. This is scandalous. It was done so with the permission of Obama and with Biden and the further financial backing of George Soros, and Trump is saying no more. This is over. It's like Elon Musk said, hey, boss, look what I just found. You know, the only DEI that I care about as a Southern man is Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Some of y'all ain't gonna get that. That's a NASCAR reference, auto racing, and the organization run by the late great Dale Earnhardt. Dale, that's the only DEI I give a hoot about. DEI. All right. So you need to look into this USAID if you don't know about it already. This is a scandalous organization. It is not about sending money to nations that are experiencing famine or drought and, Peace Corps workers or whatever carrying bags of rice to those who are starving. That's not at all what USAID is, and that's finally being exposed, and thank God for it. Now, I want to move on to something else. There is a man by the name of Arnaud Bertrand, A-R-N-A-U-D, I suppose that's how you pronounce it. Arnaud Bertrand released kind of a bullet point article where he talks about the end of the American empire. Now, you shouldn't be offended by that if you're an American. The end of the American empire is a good thing. Now, of course, we've had other empires in the world in history that have come and gone. The Romans, the Byzantine, the British Empire, and on it goes, all these various empires. And now today, of course, we've got the American empire. All these empires ended up in the dustbin of history, and it did not end well for any of them. But is it possible that we are seeing Donald Trump manage the managed end of the American empire as best he can? This is the best way to do it. This has got to end. Folks, anybody with any common sense understands the American empire is going to end. We are $35 trillion in debt. We have expanded our footprint all over the globe. We cannot continue this way, and everybody knows it. Donald Trump is not an idiot. He knows this has got to come to an end. And I think it's possible that he is prevailing over the managed end of the empire and our withdrawal from all over the world in places where we simply have no business being. And this is what Arnaud Bertrand writes. This should cheer up every American in particular, every tax-paying American citizen. Arnaud Bertrand writes that this is what we're seeing. We are seeing Trump manage the end of the American empire. And he writes this, several points here. Number one, this is the United States effectively saying our attempt at running the world is over. To each his own. We're now just another great power, not the indispensable nation. Number two, this word is tough. Hegemony was going to end sooner or later, and now the United States is basically choosing to end it on its own terms. Number three, it is the post-American world order brought to you by America itself. You can either view it as decline because it does unquestionably look like the end of the American empire. Number four, or as avoiding further decline, controlled withdrawal from imperial commitments in order to focus resources on core national interests rather than being forced into an even messier retreat at a later stage. Here comes the sun. He continues, all in all, this transformation may mark one of the most significant shifts in international relations since the fall of the Soviet Empire, or the Soviet Union. And finally, those most unprepared for it, as is already painfully obvious, are America's vassals caught completely flat-footed by the realization that the patron they've relied on for decades is now treating them as just another set of countries to negotiate with. Folks, this is wonderful news. This is wonderful news. It has been my dream, as you know, as an American, that the American government would simply mind our nation's business. I am an America first because I'm an American. I'm not a Russian. I'm not an Oriental. I'm not Japanese. I'm an American. My interest, my self-interest is with America and that alone. I simply want us to stop meddling in the affairs of other nations and mind our own business. We can't afford to do it. We can't afford to expand our footprint to every other nation that we can find on the face of the earth. It is a losing proposition. The end is only destruction for all of us. We can't afford it. We have enough problems domestically that need our attention, and that's where the focus needs to be, and I believe that's what Donald Trump has realized and is doing. This is wonderful news. The end of the American empire is great news for the American people. This doesn't mean we dismantle our military or that we, although it needs to be trimmed back if you ask me, this simply means this makes us stronger as a nation because we don't have our tentacles expanded all over the world. Now we can just focus on our own problems. And as far as military goes, you know, the military should be, it's the Department of Defense. Defense, not offense, defense. We should make sure as a nation that we have a capable defense which would defend our coast, borders, and airspace, and that's all we need. And whatever is happening in Ukraine, let it happen. Whatever is happening in any nation you can name, let it happen. Just make sure you defend your nation. This is going to make us potentially far freer, far more prosperous. It's a wonderful day. It is finally great to be an American. Folks, I'm telling you, I am so proud of this man and what he is doing. If he is managing the end of the empire, this is fantastic news for the American people. All right, let's hope this one uploads. If you see it, then it did. Hey, look, give me your comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Give me a thumbs up on the video. Don't forget to do that, please, and subscribe to the channel if you would. Great to hear from you all. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I'll see you soon.